rates for everyone in Norman. So call State Farm agent Cindy Nashert at 405-307-0500 for your surprisingly great rates today. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Individual premiums will vary by customer. All applicants subject to State Farm underwriting requirements.
Mike Steele here for Lasher Home Comfort Systems, your trusted home comfort experts in the Oklahoma City metro area. Tim Lasher and his team have more than 130 years of combined experience. They recognize a significant number of homeowners live with inadequate home comfort systems. They specialize in diagnosing your home system issues while providing more efficiency and reducing your utility costs. As an authorized dealer of American Standard, Tim can service your residence or business. Call Tim and his team at 405-579-3113. Lasher Home Comfort Systems.
A special life deserves a fitting farewell. At Primrose Funeral Service, we have been compassionately serving families for over 80 years. Even if it's a long way off, when a future event is important, like a wedding or going to college, we plan for it. Planning for our own life celebration is no different. With pre-planning, Primrose can help eliminate the difficult decisions at a difficult time, because nobody should plan for a loss at the same time they're experiencing one. Contact Primrose Funeral Service at 405-321-6000 or visit online at primrosefuneralservice.com.
The Ref Radio Sports Network is powered statewide by the insurance adjusters at Brown O'Haver. Fire, wind, theft, or tornado, we can help. Call 405-735-5510. Live from the Buffalo Wild Wings Studios, it's time to get locked in to the best Sooner recruiting and football news with Tyler McComas and Parker Thune.
You better lock it up. You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. You lock it up. Lock it up.
Hit the guys up on the Riverwind Casino call-in line at 405-329-9000. Text the show on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line at 405-651-3439.
Do it! Just do it!
Now, with Locked In, here's Tyler McComas and Parker Thune.
Well, it's been a very good week for OU football recruiting. In fact, it's been a great week for OU football recruiting. Dare I say, a five-star week for Oklahoma on the recruiting trail in 2025. Big news, you know it. Michael Fasusi commits to OU during the middle of the week. It was a big deal and a commitment that we talked about for several months. And now that we're a couple of days past it, Parker Thune, I want to bring up something that we routinely said over and over and over again while we were previewing the Michael Fasusi commitment. I said it many a times. It's that, hey, you've got a good class right now. You've got a really good class right now. But it kind of feels like you could go from a really good class to a great class if you were to get a guy like Michael Fasusi. That completes an awesome offensive line class, biggest fish that's out there. It really feels like he can bring this entire class together. Well, it happened about 48 hours ago. So everything we said leading up to that, I would think is still true, right? Like, if this class as is what you get on National Signing Day, are we willing to use the word great to talk about this 25 class with OU?
No question about it. As it stands right now, yes, this is a great recruiting class for Oklahoma. Now, looking to the future, looking to the 3 months and change that is ahead, I guess closer to 4 months than 3 months, 3.5 months that is left in this 2025 recruiting cycle. If you are able to add one or more of the final pieces, Christian Jones, Austin Peay, and especially Andrew Babalola, if there's a world in which you can land Andrew Babalola, Tyler, as Barney Stinson would say, this class is no longer good. This class is legend. Wait for it. Legendary.
Legendary. We're willing to go there. Like we're talking about the offensive line class or just the recruiting class, period?
Oh, I was talking about the offensive line class. With regard to the class as a whole, I think that might put you in the conversation for a top 5 class, Tyler. And I have long, and we've faced the question I don't know how many times throughout the course of the year, is there a chance Oklahoma winds up with a top 5 class? And my answer has always been I expect Oklahoma to be in that 6 to 10 range unless a few things fall into place just so and the stars align and things go so incredibly right for Oklahoma on the recruiting trail. Generally, those aren't the kinds of outcomes that you count on, but getting Michael Fasusi and Andrew Babalola would certainly fall in that category of stuff that I didn't count on, but that would certainly elevate Oklahoma to at least in the conversation for a top 5 class in the country.
Sure, like I agree with my original question. Like, if what you have committed today, if that's what you end up having, no other additions, no subtractions to the class, what you have today for 2025, if that's what you have in December, I think it's a great class. I don't think it's the number 1 class in the country. I don't know if it's a top 5 class either. But for what OU is trying to achieve in the 2025 class with maybe some lower numbers than last year or compared to some other classes across the country, it's a great class. They filled all the needs, and as we sit here today, Friday, August 23rd, 7 days until we're going to kick this thing off, I don't really think that this class desperately has any needs with it. Would it be nice to get Christian Jones at linebacker? Heck yeah. It'd be nice to get a top 100 player at linebacker. I don't think you necessarily just have to have him or you're going to be in rough shape moving forward. You'll be okay with or without Christian Jones. Obviously, you'd rather have him. You're talking about Andrew Babalola. Like, if you get him, legendary, okay, yeah, let's have that conversation with the offensive line class. If you don't get him, it's, we still feel really good about our O-line class moving forward. You're in the spot now here moving forward to where you feel at pretty much every single position. You like what you got. And now you're in the fun territory from here on out with a lot of really cool home games coming up at night, like potential big-time visit weekends, to where you can kind of go on the offensive and try to flip some players. And maybe your new offensive tackle commit, Michael Fasusi, could help you out with that a little bit.
Yeah, Michael Fasusi is, if nothing else, beyond an outstanding football player, he's just a very, very likable, very cordial, what's the adjective I'm looking for here? He's got a great personality. I won't even try to go for the quality adjective. He's just a guy with a great personality. He bonds well with his peers, and I kind of figured, as did many, Tyler, that if you got Fasusi, you weren't getting Babalola. If you landed Fasusi, that kind of forecloses your path to land Babalola. Kind of seems like it's been the opposite effect, where the momentum that Oklahoma created with the addition of Fasusi has improved their chances to land Babalola, because now, I mean, what's the talk of social media right now? It's, oh boy, Bill Bedenbaugh got him an elite one. The best offensive line coach in college football got himself a 5-star offensive tackle. And moreover, as we discussed in the 1 o'clock hour, it does not hurt when a guy that plays right up the road from Andrew Babalola for the Kansas City Chiefs, a guy that was developed under Bill Bedenbaugh at the University of Oklahoma, is now in line to become the highest paid center in NFL history, concurrent with all of the other happenings.
Yeah, well, that was nice to see last night, and congrats to Creed on that one. He's getting paid. Well-deserved. 4-year extension, $72 million, $50 million guaranteed. Pretty cool, and an Oklahoma guy is going to end up getting paid like this, and he deserves every single penny of what he's getting right now with the Kansas City Chiefs. But all that to say, I think just clearly you're in a very good spot in the 2025 class. And if we were to hand out grades right now with where things are at currently, I got to go with an A. I mean, if you want to get aggressive and go A+, like maybe getting Christian Jones would get you that A+. Maybe Babalola would get you that A+. But I don't think I can go higher, any lower than an A right now if I'm grading this class top to bottom, just with the overall depth that you have, once again, on both sides of the football, with maybe a class that's looked at a little bit smaller in terms of class number.
Yeah. Well, and Empire Will on the text line asked, gentlemen, can you explain how Rivals comes up with their points on the team rankings? I cannot explain how they come up with the points, but what I can explain is kind of relevant to the greater discussion about class size. This class isn't going to be nearly as big as the 2024 class, which numbered 27 scholarship commits plus Andy Bass, so call it 27 and a half. But the reason why Oklahoma is still going to be in the mix for a top 5 class, should they land Babalola, despite it being a smaller haul, is because, at least the way that Rivals does it, only the top 20 commits in a given class are factored into the rankings. So What that means is, and that's kind of your equalizing factor, because some schools will sign 30, 35 kids. Some schools will sign 21, 22. So that's kind of what equalizes everything and makes sure that quantity doesn't outweigh quality. And why Oklahoma, and we're looking at a class that probably features 24, 25 players. Why even so, when there are schools that will be signing north of 30 players, heck, there are schools across the country at the P4 level, Rutgers being one of them, that already has 30-plus commits. Despite all that, the Sooners, with the quality that they have accumulated in the 2025 cycle, are going to be more than capable of contending for a top 5 nod.
Yeah. One-star Jay in Tulsa says Creed Humphrey is now in fellow Shawnee, Oklahoma native Brad Pitt's tax bracket. Well freaking done, dude. You think that's still true? Let's see. Brad Pitt's net worth. Are we ready
Pitt's
to
net
say
worth,
that?
I'm going to say his net worth is substantially more than $72 million.
$400 million as of March 22nd of this year. So Creed's got a couple of more contracts to go, and then some after that to have $400 million. But hey, $50 million guaranteed, and his newest contract is pretty good start. Not a bad start. 405. Don't forget, Kansas City Chiefs also have Orlando Brown and Wanye Morris up there for Babalola to watch.
A lot of OU DNA.
Yeah, they do in Kansas City for sure. They like them some Oklahoma Sooners, and a lot of those guys have won Super Bowls. Most of those guys, multiple Super Bowls. But, yeah, things are on the up and up with OU in the 2025 class. Now it's kind of poaching season. It's flip season maybe for OU here as we move forward. But this is an interesting day for us because we are both on remotes. So no mood lighting for us back in the KREF studios. In fact, I don't know if you have the KREF Sports live feed pulled up on YouTube. It's just a couple of photos of us. So I don't know if that's an improvement from what people normally have to look at, but no actual video today of you or I in studio today. Interesting.
That's highly anticlimactic.
Yeah. Well, and then you have we have a response in here that says about to do some attic restoration. It's about 120 degrees in there. Y'all might be the last voices I ever hear. So
let's hope that's not the case.
Let's not mail it in on us Friday. Let's get all the hot takes out 7 days before the start of the season, because if we are the last voices this individual is going to hear, I mean, come on. We got to go out with some hot takes about what OU is or won't do this year. So, I don't know. I hope you're with us by the end of this hour and by the end of the show today. I am definitely rooting for that to be the case. I am at YFAC today, Young Family Athletic Center. Been here several times this summer. Awesome place. YFAC.com to see all the cool deals that they have and all the cool things that they have coming up throughout the rest of the summer and into the fall as well. Ortho Central has a location in here, which is really, really cool. Just an amazing facility. Basketball, pickleball, the pool. I mean, they've done such a miraculous job here in Norman with the Young Family Athletic Center, and they're open today. So come check it out this weekend and throughout the rest of the year as well. Parker, you are at the Riverwind Casino today. What's going on out there on a Friday?
Yeah, that's correct. Riverwind Casino obviously has a fantastic gaming floor, 3,000 of your favorite games, 20 table games, 11 poker tables, and the off-track betting lounge. But also, it's got OKC's premier live casino venue, one of the finest live entertainment settings anywhere in Oklahoma, that being the Riverwind Showplace Theater. Tomorrow on August 24th, Grammy Award-winning songwriter, musician, and artist Ashley McBride is in the house. Tickets are now buy one and get one free. All that and more happening right now, right here, out at Riverwind Casino.
405-651-3439 is the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. We'll get back to that and potentially some massive news coming to college football. This would be a huge change to the sport if it happens. We'll tell you what's being proposed next right here on The Ref.
This hour of Locked In.
Crafted for SEC competition. Every OU fan should own a piece of Sooner Magic. Made in America, like it should be. Get your official on-field OU football today.
Tailgate. GMC Sierra. Not just any truck, the truck. GMC's continued commitment to professional-grade engineering is on full display at your Oklahoma GMC dealers. Come take a test drive today and see for yourself. We are professional-grade GMC.
Have you or someone you know suffered a loss to your home or business from the recent storms? Before you accept a settlement, call Brown O'Haver at 405-735-5510. Brown O'Haver is a local-based company helping Oklahomans with claims since 1988 with preparation and expert analysis detailing your loss and insurance settlement. As your trusted consultant, Brown O'Haver can give you peace of mind and make sure you're getting what's yours. Call Brown O'Haver today, 405-735-5510, and make sure they're working for you.
Hi, I'm Barry Switzer. We have a very important Senate race here in the Sooner Nation, and I'm encouraging you to go out Tuesday and vote for my friend Lisa Standridge. We need a bold and strong leader with true class, and most importantly, Lisa is Sooner born and Sooner bred. Join me and elect a champion. Vote for Lisa Standridge for State Senate.
Vote Lisa Standridge on August 27th. Paid for by Lisa Standridge for State Senate 2024.
Belmar Golf Club offers a whole new world of recreation and excitement. Our Junior Olympic-sized swimming pool offers a family-friendly atmosphere with poolside food and beverages perfect for all types of summer pool parties. In addition to the best golf course in Oklahoma, Belmar is also a great place to hold corporate and fundraising events, as well as magnificent and memorable wedding ceremonies. Call 405-364-0111 or stop by 1025 East Indian Hills Road and check out our first-class facilities and exceptional service.
Would you like to play a more active role in your health? At Hightower Clinical, we believe all Oklahomans should have access to new potential treatment options through clinical trial participation. Our team wants to support you with the best care possible through clinical trials. No health insurance is required. Compensation is available for eligible study participants, and study care is provided at no cost.
Having the chance to go through a trial and find out if something works for them and makes their life easier, I would recommend them do it.
To learn more, scan this QR code and visit our website.
Did the recent storms damage your home and roof? Call All American Roofing today. All American Roofing has been repairing and replacing roofs for over 40 years and is a second-generation locally owned roofing company. They are also a Google guaranteed contractor and offer free inspections. Our roofers are GAF Master Elite contractors with a BBB A+ rating. Call All American Roofing today at 405-787-0400. All American Roofing, the best roofing company in Oklahoma. 405-787-0400.
The Sooners are joining the SEC with a redesigned, handcrafted, and customized Nike Vapor Elite exclusively from Big Game Football Factory Football to commemorate their inaugural SEC season. To connect to the game you love on a deeper level, to get truly game day ready, you need the best quality football designed by and for your Sooners. How do you own the only official on-field Sooner football? Go to BigGameUSA.com/KREF and get your piece of Sooner history today.
Every moment counts if you're at risk or living with lung cancer. And anyone with lungs can get lung cancer. It causes more cancer deaths than breast, colon, and prostate combined. And while there may be moments where you question your next step, through it all, Go-To for Lung Cancer is here for you. We are your community. For screening, treatment, and survivorship support, Go-To is your go-to. Confronting lung cancer starts here. Visit goto.org.
Locked in with the Homeless Food on this Friday. We're the Homeless Sooner fans. 405-651-3439 is the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. We'll get to that momentarily. I'm at the Young Family Athletic Center in Norman. Parker is at the Riverwind Casino. But about, 40 minutes ago or so, this broke from Pete Nakos of On3 Sports. Says a source confirms to @On3 the NCAA Football Oversight Group is discussing the elimination of the spring transfer portal window in college football. The portal would only be open in the winter. Look, I just saw the headline. I wasn't able to, right before the show, go in and read this entire story. So I don't know what the likelihood of this actually is. But if it's being brought up, this is potentially a very big deal. I mean, OU just got Dominic Williams in that spring transfer portal cycle, and maybe the guys that end up being there in the spring are going to be there all along in the winter. But one transfer portal cycle, I think, is a major, major change it could be coming to the sports.
And I'll tell you who benefits and who doesn't. I really like this because it does level the playing field a little bit. Look, my outlook on so much of the way that college football has changed in the last few years has been this is making the competitive chasm wider. The rich are getting richer, the poor are getting poorer. The schools that benefit from this are a group of 5 schools. The schools for whom this is a detriment are the high-end P4s, because if it's only the winter window, then if you're a P4 school, what you have to do in the month of December, like you get no rest in the month of December if you're a P4 coach, because you have to peruse the transfer portal, you have to recruit those guys, you got to host them on visits, you got to do that whole process. You got to keep things together, hold things together with your signing class in that particular recruiting cycle, because signing day for those guys is in December. Assuming you won 6 or more games in the season, you got to go through bowl prep, 15 additional practices. There's so much on your plate if you only have the winter portal window, even as much as there already is on these coaches' plates in the month of December. It only adds to their workload if the winter portal window is the only window in which to bolster your roster via the transfer portal, and you don't have another chance to do so in the spring. But for the group of 5 teams, it's great, because how many group of 5 programs got one of their top players poached in the spring window this last year or in years past?
I don't know. When did Alabama steal Miami of Ohio's kicker? Was it in the winter or was it in the spring? Because apparently the head coach out there, they just flat out stole their kicker. But no, I totally agree with that, because the way that a lot of P4 teams operate now is, all right, we feel like we know what we have going into spring ball, but as we get through spring, let's really evaluate things, and then let's see again where we need to add another player. So it's like a second opportunity, like a second free agency, essentially, to say, all right, we saw these guys throughout spring ball. Here's where we really need to go get some help. And you're right. A lot of those times that is happening from the MAC or from non-power conferences out there. In fact, the SEC, has the rule in the spring that you can't transfer from one SEC school to the other and be able to play the very next year. So the elimination of the spring transfer portal window, I do think as well would benefit non-Power 4 schools. Now, again, maybe those guys who were always going to be in there in the spring are just in there in the winter now. But these coaching staffs can't use spring ball as an evaluation period to say, okay, where do we need to go add another guy, and we'll go do that in like April or May or something like that. That could be coming to a close, which is that would be a very big deal and a very big change to the sport.
A 512 listener asked, who do we believe in the kicker gate saga, Miami of Ohio or Kalen DeBoer? It's a good question. I'm inclined to believe Miami of Ohio, because it happens. Like, I don't know if it happened in this particular case, but it happens so frequently where P4 schools are tampering with G5 players, trying to induce them to enter the transfer portal. And look, Oklahoma got a kid from Miami of Ohio in the transfer portal this winter as well, and Caden Woolard. Of course, we're all familiar with him and his story, but there are guys from the G5 ranks that make a legitimate effort, independent of any promises under the table from P4 schools, to level up their careers and take their remaining eligibility and give themselves a little bit more exposure and a little bit more of an opportunity to make a legit run at the NFL draft in hopes of one day hearing their name called. Caden Woolard was one of those guys. But there also are a lot of guys that get coaxed into the transfer portal via backdoor contact from one P4 school or another.
Chonky Chuck says, I wouldn't hate that, but I'd rather see the fall one get taken out, because it would encourage players staying for the bowl season and working their way through spring.
That's a good point, Chonky Chuck.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you'd still have guys opting out for the NFL draft, but just electing not to play and going ahead and entering into the transfer portal, opting out because they're going to enter the portal. I think that's very fair.
It's an interesting thought, and I think there's some merit to what Chonky Chuck presents there. But by the same token, I also believe that kind of hand in hand with what you were saying there, Tyler. If a guy really had his mind set on entering the transfer portal, at that point, what he would do is exactly what Caden Proctor did, which is dissociate from his current team, back out of all current team activities, and put it out there publicly that I will be entering the transfer portal when the window opens. And in some cases, it may be as simple as I'm going here or I'm going there. But what that basically would do, I think in many cases, is just create a 4-month window where guys know and schools know that they're on the outs with one particular player who has his eyes set on leveling up.
Matt from Moore says, I got a chance to talk to a former defensive player who played a couple of years ago. He said he got a chance to watch some practice, and when I asked him about the defense, his eyes got wide, and he just said, we're going to be real good. Said Peyton Bowen is just different. When I asked him about the offense, he said if the offensive line can gel, the sky is the limit for this team. Got me pumped up with 1 week to go. Good text there, Matt. Appreciate that intel. And that is right in line with kind of everything else. I mean, everyone else that you talk to that is able to attend practice. Maybe they don't say Peyton Bowen is different. They could say another individual player, which is a really good sign. It means that you don't have just one player that stands out above the rest necessarily. But, yeah, I mean, everyone that I've talked to that's gone to practice, and this is going all the way back to the spring, is depth, man. They've got some real depth on the defense. That's the word that's used probably more than any other word, which is exciting with the multiple fronts and the multiple looks that you can have this year. But, yeah, I mean, they've got depth. They got big-time front-end talent on defense, and that's it with this team. If the offensive line can go from, solid to good or really good, then we're really, really talking about something with this football team this year.
Gunny of Stutzman Army on the text line says, fellas, the whole live on YouTube thing kind of needs someone live and not two headshots. Yeah, we get you, Gunny. We're both unavoidably detained today in that case. The Waffler with an interesting text. Am I dreaming this, or did I see that Deshaun White made an NFL roster? You're not dreaming. Deshaun White signed with the Raiders.
Good for him, man. Good for him. He played a role his last year at OU that maybe didn't suit him perfectly. But, yeah, nice to see. And I mean, that's just because they didn't really have very many options at that spots in that
Deshaun White's a good
season.
linebacker.
He is.
Deshaun White is a good linebacker. He's a terrible cheetah, but that's because he's not a cheetah. He had to play that position out of necessity. But Deshaun White, in his day at Oklahoma, was a really good linebacker.
Corey in Austin says, thoughts on Dominic Williams calling his shots, saying Jaden Jackson will be an All-American and not a freshman All-American.
Oh, hello. I didn't see that.
Did he put that out on social media or something? Because I did not see that either. Well, it would not be the first time that Dominic Williams has talked very highly of Jaden Jackson or even David Stone. The first time the media got to talk to Dominic Williams, I thought that was kind of the best highlight or the best clip there is like, yeah, the future of this program, the future of this defensive line is in really good hands with those two guys here moving forward. So I like it. I like him kind of sticking up and throwing out what he thinks Jaden Jackson is going to be this year. An All-American type of year would be pretty insane, but can Jaden Jackson be a freshman All-American this year? I think Jaden Jackson absolutely can be a freshman All-American.
Yoda says, why do you guys ignore me, LOL? We don't ignore you, Yoda. We just have a lot of texts to read. Like this one from a 405 listener who says, Lincoln Riley will absolutely claim Deshaun White in an edit on Twitter.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Probably so.
What was he saying earlier this week? We were bringing a knife to a gunfight when it came to NIL. I have it here.
A toy sword
notes.
to a gunfight.
Yeah, he went on later to say that. He's like, we're not taking a knife. You don't want to be going into a gunfight with a knife. In the beginning, we were going into a gunfight with like a toy sword. We've made progress. Those folks have done a great job. You think Clark has a toy sword in his office?
I'm sure he does. I'm sure he does. And there are a lot of jokes that are going to be made now with that comment at Clark Stroud's expense.
Yeah, that's fine. That's why I said it. I expect that. I guess Dominic Williams said that on his mic'd up video there with OU football, which I failed to watch that mic'd up today for whatever reason.
And Gunny with an outstanding text. Yoda, you should keep this in mind. Gunny says, texts in Yoda form he should do. Maybe that would help.
It's
Maybe
true.
that would help your texts to get read more frequently. Embrace the persona.
Greg and Muskogee giving the first toy sword joke. Just know that I see that, Greg, and just know that I'm laughing right now, even though I cannot mention that publicly. Use your imagination.
Those were exactly the types of jokes that I was anticipating.
405-651-3439, Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. All right, is Floyd Bucard going to take this Florida visit? What's going on with this recent offer to Jaden Bradley? And what's the latest on Austin Pay, the offensive line offer that OU has seemingly just thrown out? We'll get into that coming up next, as well as your text. Keep it locked on the Ref.
Sooner fans, show your Sooner pride. Crafted for SEC competition. Every OU fan should own a piece of Sooner magic. Made in America, like it should be. Get your official on-field OU football today.
All you have to do is go to kref.com and click the pop-up register to win one of our 12 prizes.
4 fingers in the air, 3 brothers sell the 2 ponies in the barn, and the Sooners in the SEC.
That's the Ref's 12 days of football. Register for a chance to win at kref.com today. The Ref, the home of Sooner fans. Must be 18 or older to enter.
Visit Norman encourages you to shop local in Norman this summer. Visit Cayman's on Main Street, your one-stop shopping for men's and women's clothing, accessories, designer jewelry, cosmetics, and home decor. Featuring Johnny O, Rag & Bone, John Hardy, and so much more, it's at Cayman's on Main Street. For fresh, delicious Italian dining, visit Gabarino's Homestyle Italian. For lunch, dinner, or takeout, you are guaranteed to get amazing meals from scratch, family recipes at Gabarino's. And hit the driving range or just play around at the Westwood Golf Course. It's easy to book a tee time online, pick up a bucket of balls, or enjoy the delicious turn grill at Westwood Golf Course. When you shop local, you are supporting businesses that give back to community events, schools, sports, and local nonprofits. However you enjoy summer in Norman, remember to eat, shop, and play local.
We all have someone we love, like the favorite lyric in our favorite song. You can't imagine life without them. Cancer screening tests can help keep the person you love around longer by detecting changes before cancer develops, or catch it early when it may be easier to treat. And many tests are available for free or are covered by insurance. It's time to sound like a broken record. Tell all your friends and family, I love you. Get screened. Visit cancer.org/getscreened to learn more.
Serving in Afghanistan, I was shot in the head by sniper fire. I was given a 5% chance to live. I'm Adam Alexander, and I'm a veteran. Today, I visit classrooms and share my story. I tell kids that with a little help and a lot of work, that you can overcome any challenge.
DAV helps veterans like Adam get the benefits they've earned. They help more than 1 million veterans every year.
My victory is being there for the next generation.
Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
Call the 12th Avenue Chick-fil-A in Norman at 405-310-3189 and let us prepare your party and celebration needs. As the official KREF tailgate sponsor, get your Chick-fil-A nugget, sandwich, or mac and cheese trays. It would be our pleasure to serve you, whether dining in, carrying out, catering, or delivering delightfulness to your front door. Boxed meals to nugget trays to gallons of lemonade and tea, we have plenty to offer for your next party or summer events. The 12th Avenue Chick-fil-A. Call 405-310-3189 and remember, eat more chicken.
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Walking with Macomb Sooner, live for the Home of Sooner fans, Fort Gillens Buick, GMC and El Reno bringing this hour of Locked In with Macomb and Thune. Great selection, great prices, and of course they've got half-price oil changes on Saturdays as well. Go check them out in El Reno. It's Dorsey Jones Buick GMC. I'm at the Young Family Athletic Center on this Friday. Parker is at the Riverwind Casino. And let's get to a few hitters that people want to know about the 2025 class first, and we addressed this 2 or 3 days ago. Is there a thought out there that OU's defensive line committer, at least one of them, Floyd Boucard, is going to end up taking a visit to Gainesville and go see the Florida Gators?
So latest that I've been told, and I talked to a source on the Florida side yesterday, as a matter of fact, that told me, yeah, look, there's not a lot here with Boucard. They don't expect him to visit for that UF Miami game, and so that's not one that really concerns me at this point. Now, there's been a lot of buzz that not only Boucard but Cortez Mills could take some visits this fall. And I'll say what I said on Wednesday. If it comes to pass that they're looking at taking visits to places like, I don't know, Alabama, Tennessee, Miami even, okay, then maybe there's cause for concern. But no OU fan should be seriously intimidated by the University of Florida in its current state with regard to either Boucard or Mills.
Yeah, I mean, again, maybe Florida, maybe they're telling some people they think they're going to be a lot better than most people think. Well, that's fine, but that's still probably going to equal about 6 wins this year. And does Billy Napier keep his job if the Gators go 6-6? I'm not so convinced, because that wouldn't be a good year in Gainesville. And I saw, what was it, Rivals or 24/7 Sports, I can't remember who did it this week, but they had some recruiting classes out there for 2025, Parker, that's, hey, is it time to panic? And on most of them they said, well, no, maybe not time to panic yet, still maybe a little bit patience. But when it comes to the Florida Gators, the article said, yes, panic with Florida. It's not going well right now in the 2025 class. And as you look on Rivals, they're barely inside the top 50, dude. The University of Florida, they're the number 46 class with just 13 commits, 8 4-stars and 4 3-stars. Not a class that you should have if you're a head coach of the Florida Gators.
Well, and think about this, Tyler. How well could it be going realistically for Florida right now when everybody knows Billy Napier is on the hottest of seats in 2024? If you're committing to Florida right now, it's likely because either you just have an undying adoration for the University of Florida, regardless of who the head coach is or what the roster looks like, or you just don't have a better alternative.
Yeah, if you're committing right now or seriously considering Florida, like, the negative recruiting for that kid for any other school is easy. Like, hey, that's cool. You want to go to Florida? Well, do you know who the head coach is going to be when you get there? Because they're going to have a different head coach at some point in your career, and it might happen in your freshman season out in Gainesville. So the negative recruiting that goes on with Florida right now is rather easy. That's why I think if they get off to a slow start, that you could see them really cut bait with Billy Napier and be gone by the month of November this year. I think
it might be the only way to
Pittman.
Well, it might be the only way to salvage the recruiting class and be able to generate some momentum come December if you're trying to lock down a top-tier portal haul to shore up some of your immediate weaknesses. The quicker you cut bait with Billy Napier, the quicker you can start to look for a replacement, the quicker you can start to reestablish some semblance of belief in what's going on at the University of Florida. And maybe things turn around. Maybe DJ Lagway is the savior, and Billy Napier is spared from a gruesome fate as the head coach at Florida, but it's not something you can count on, especially when you look at that schedule, Tyler.
True that. Also true to one-star Jay in Tulsa. Are you kidding me, Tyler? There's no way Clark Stroud has an office there. He's likely doing his work out of Lincoln's imaginary black SUV. Fair enough. Fair enough. And the Toy Sword comments to all of you out there that I looked during the break that I cannot read. Very, very nice job. Very nice job, guys, to all of you out there. All right, what about Jaden Bradley, the latest offer that's out there? Is that an actual scholarship offer, or is this a PWO offer in the secondary?
I would refer you back to Brandon Drum's comments last hour. Do not count on Jaden Bradley being seriously pursued by Oklahoma.
They sent an offer, but they're not going to seriously pursue him.
Well, if it wasn't, if he didn't explicitly say it, I will. That offer is an old offer, and I'm not really sure why it was posted yesterday of all days, but Oklahoma's safety class is set. It's Amarian Robinson and Marcus Wimberly. There's no real reason to take a third right now. And Bradley's a good football player, comes highly recommended amongst folks that I've talked to down in the DFW area, but is not going to be a guy that OU pushes for.
Austin Pay, offensive tackle out of American Fork, Utah. Got an Oregon offer, got an A&M offer, got a BYU offer, and I believe that he's either visited all three of those or heavily interested in all three of those. I mean, we just talked about him for the first time yesterday, so it may be tough to update anything else, but could the addition of Michael Fasusi, when we're talking about adding Michael Fasusi and what that might mean here moving forward in recruiting, is a guy like Austin Pay, who's going to go on that 2-year mission, apparently after high school, is a guy like Austin Pay someone that maybe you're in a better spot for because you just recently got Andrew Babalola? Or excuse me, Michael Fasusi, my bad.
Well, here's what I would actually say in response to that, Tyler. You might be in a good spot with Austin, or a better spot than you might imagine with Austin Pay, not because you got Michael Fasusi, but because you got Darius Afalava. Austin Pay is from where? The state of Utah. Who's the number one player in the state of Utah in the 2025 cycle? It is none other than OU commit Darius Afalava. So, if you need somebody out there in the state of Utah peer recruiting on your behalf, who better than the first commit from that state for your program in years and years and years? And to that point, Tyler, just to compound upon it, Afalava's an offensive lineman too. So who better to tout Bill Bedenbaugh's resume and what he can do developmentally for you than a guy that bought into that vision and was willing to commit to Oklahoma after less than 10 weeks of being seriously recruited by the Sooners. Afalava got the offer from OU at the spring game in April. He was committed by the end of June.
Yeah, and whether they get Austin Pay or not, I do think it's a good enough example to say how crap of a take it's been that OU is going to be the next Nebraska, or they're not going to be able to recruit well enough to compete with all the other SEC schools. Like, here's OU again going into a state in an area that historically they haven't been much of a player in. Like, we saw that a couple of years ago. They go get a couple of guys out of the state of Washington, right? And they go get an offensive lineman out of New Jersey, or now it's Utah. They go get the number one player out of Utah, and they might have a chance to get another good offensive lineman in Utah. And maybe they're not back in Utah for a couple of more years. But at least for this cycle, when they wanted to get into Utah and get a couple of really good players, they may be able to do so. Same thing with the state of Nebraska, and I'm sure there's other examples as well. Like, pipelines are great to have. And OU has a ton of pipelines into the state of Texas, but you just, at least this staff, doesn't necessarily need it to be regional to go in and get some really good players. If they've never been in the state of Utah before, that's fine. They'll find their way into that state, and they'll find a way to win out.
Keep your eyes peeled, because I do not think it out of the question that Austin Pay could wind up taking an official visit to Oklahoma sometime in season.
Well, he needs to come to the Tennessee game. Is he coming for the Tennessee game?
I mean, I don't know. Like, there's nothing on the calendar yet, but
well, he needs to come to the Tennessee game. It could be the best home atmosphere you have all year long, and I think it's going to be a night game.
There will be a zillion recruits at that game. Man.
Oh, I don't doubt that, man. 2026, I'm sure that could be a big 26, 27. I mean, whatever. That could be a very big But it's going to be a very, very big recruiting weekend, and I would make it a big recruiting weekend with the atmosphere that's going to be in Norman that day. It's going to be insane. All right, we'll get to the text line once again coming up next, 405-651-3439. I'm at the Young Family Athletic Center today where they do have the new member special still going on. $20 a month and $5 day passes. YFAC.com. That is YFAC.com. And, Parker, you are at the Riverwind Casino today.
That is correct. The Riverwind Casino, conveniently located off I-35 and Highway 9, which features almost 3,000 of your favorite games, 20 table games, 11 poker tables, as well as the Riverwind's off-track betting lounge. Riverwind offers the state-of-the-art Showplace Theater with over 1,500 seats. So come enjoy some of your favorite musicians live with endless gaming and entertainment options. There's something for everyone here at Riverwind. That's where I will be for about the next 15 minutes. Two-Star Ted is already here. I don't know if he's off gaming or what, but he showed up about 2:15, and I haven't seen him since. But he's here somewhere, and that's where he'll be for the rush.
Final segment of Locked In coming up next right here on the Ref.
It's time to get more about
Sooner fans, show your Sooner pride. Crafted for SEC competition. Every OU fan should own a piece of Sooner Magic. Made in America, like it should be. Get your official on-field OU football today.
managing partner to help you with any questions you might have. And here's the real value that Seth has always backed up with over $21 million and counting on a promise. Tell him, Seth.
That's my promise of oil changes and engines for life on new or used gas or diesel at no additional cost to you.
So come experience luxury for less at Seth Wadley Chevy Buick GMC, I-35 exit 72 Pauls Valley, or click SethWadleyGMC.com.
Yukon stock number G257-204, Chevy Tahoe C152-223.
The Showplace Theater at Riverwind is your best bet.
And with some of the best acts around, like Goo Goo Dolls, September 5th. Penn and Teller, September 6th. Cole Swindell, September 20th. And Jamie Johnson, September 26th.
Riverwind, the Metro's best casino experience.
Tired of your current living situation? Now is the best time to make a move. Interest rates are dropping, and Home Creations is offering the best financing around with rates as low as 3.75%. This will save you hundreds per month on your brand new Home Creations home. Live like a champion today by calling Holly at 405-364-9999 for full details.
364-9999 means Home Creations.
APR 6.411%.
For 3 generations, the John M. Ireland & Son Funeral Home and Chapel in Morris continued to serve the community by giving back to local schools, charitable organizations, and first responders.
We provide pre-planning for funerals and cremation services at the most reasonable prices.
We are proud to be a family-owned and operated funeral home.
Award-winning funeral home year after year, our family believes in serving the people of our community.
I'm John Ireland.
And I'm Solon Daniels.
You've got our word on it.
Call the 12th Avenue Chick-fil-A in Norman at 405-310-3189 and let us prepare your party and celebration needs. As the official KREF tailgate sponsor, get your Chick-fil-A nugget, sandwich, or mac and cheese trays. It would be our pleasure to serve you, whether dining in, carrying out, catering, or delivering delightfulness to your front door. Boxed meals to nugget trays to gallons of lemonade and tea, we have plenty to offer for your next party or summer events. The 12th Avenue Chick-fil-A. Call 405-310-3189 and remember, eat more chicken.
Life can be complicated, but saving money shouldn't be. At OU Federal Credit Union, they make saving simple and stress-free. The best part? They have no hidden fees. Joining OUFCU means you're in control of your financial future. Whether it's a rainy day fund or saving for that dream vacation, they've got you covered. Visit OUFCU.com or come by one of their branches today. OU Federal Credit Union, where savings is simple and dreams come true. Member savings insured up to $250,000 by the NCUA.
This is Mark Van Hoos, owner of Van Hoos Fence. Van Hoos Fence has years of experience and proven superior performance, kind of like a certain head ball coach.
We know Van Hoos Fence offers the best value and service for your residential, commercial, or sports fencing needs. Whether it's a new install or repair work, let Mark and his team at Van Hoos Fence be your trusted resource.
Call us today at 405-735-1167.
Save yourself from Googling it up. Go to vhfence.com. They will work with you in a great way.
Hey, life doesn't stop when cancer starts. After diagnosis, treatment is vital. But for some, just getting there, to appointments, chemo, or radiation, is a major challenge. You can change that. Volunteer to give rides with the American Cancer Society Road to Recovery program. Driving for a few hours of your day can make a life-saving difference for someone with cancer. Visit cancer.org/drive to learn more.
When you struggle with Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis, you get used to not feeling 100%. I thought that was how it had to be. Until I discovered the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation. They told me about new medications that weren't around back when I was diagnosed. They helped me find a specialist who gave me a new treatment plan. I'm feeling better than I ever thought I could. Don't settle for not feeling your best. Take action today to take care of yourself. Spill your guts. Learn more at spillyourguts.org.
Final segment of Locked In with McComas and Food, live on the ref for the home of Sooner fans. Happy College Football Eve to all of you out there. Florida State and Georgia Tech, 11 a.m. tomorrow morning out in Dublin. We've got some other games as well going on in college football, including the largest spread for an FCS team over an FBS team, maybe ever, at least in the last 15 years. Montana State, who they've been a good program in the FCS. Montana State is a 13.5-point favorite against New Mexico tomorrow. Jeez, 2-touchdown favorite over the Lobos. I think, is Bronco Mendenhall out coaching with the Lobos right now? Eesh.
Is he? Oh, I guess he did get hired out there, didn't he? And of course, that was where General Booty was going to go until Oklahoma spared him from that horrific fate.
Yeah, he'd be a 13.5-point dog in his first game to Montana State. That game is in Albuquerque. Yikes. Big yikes, New Mexico. Ooh. What about Florida State, Georgia Tech tomorrow? Georgia Tech, a lot of people hopping on the 10.5. They like the points. They like a close game. They like a close game. You think Florida State and their 25 to 30,000 fans that will be in Dublin, you think they cover, win big? I got 3 hours to talk about it, so what do you think?
Yeah, I like Florida State to win and cover in that one. I'm not a huge believer in Georgia Tech yet. I know, there's always that one game in week 0 that everybody picks as the trendy upset, or at least the trendy cover. And it's kind of like picking the trendy upset in the first round of March Madness, Tyler. That's the one that never seems to hit. So that's my logic with this Georgia Tech-Florida State game.
Well, I don't think it can be any worse for Florida State than the last time they played a football game. I know I'm never supposed to challenge worse, but it's going to be very, very difficult for Florida State to have a worse time playing football than they did in the Orange Bowl against Georgia. It's going to take a lot for that to have to happen. Last time Florida State played, and many think they should have been playing in the college football playoff, even with a bit of a depleted roster, including not having their starting quarterback. But yikes, that Orange Bowl against Georgia was really, really tough for the Noles. We got a few minutes here, and I might run this back on the Rush as well. But if I were to say to you, hey, trending up after training camp, what are 2 to 3 names that you would think are trending up after training camp? For me, a name is Javonte Barnes. What about 2 or 3 for you that's trending up?
It's interesting. The opinion of Javonte Barnes has been very divided amongst people I've talked to. There are folks that have said, yeah, he looks really, really good. There are folks that have told me he's not number 2 in that backfield. So I don't really know what to think of Javonte Barnes. That's kind of an enigmatic one for me. But I think the guys that are definitely, without question, trending up, I mean, that conversation to me starts with Eli Bowen, who had a quietly tremendous spring and has had a tremendous fall camp as well. Another name that I'd throw in that conversation is J.J. Hester, and it's not just because Jaden Gibson is hurt, people. It's because J.J. Hester has really, really impressed. He is finally fully healthy, and thus far on the practice field in fall camp, the word on him has been really, really good. Another freshman on the defensive side of the ball that I would throw in that same category is Michael Boganowski. I do believe that you will see quite a bit of Michael Boganowski this season at that safety, at that free safety spot, and I do not think that is limited to garbage time scenarios and non-conference play.
All fine selections. A lot of those are young defensive backs, by the way, that you mentioned there. I was really hoping, though, that you would light at the text line, just burn the place down on your way out for the weekend, and throw out a Zach Schmidt at kicker. That would have been the way to do it.
Yeah, I don't want those kinds of problems on the text line, though.
They wouldn't be your problems. It would be our problems for the rest of the day.
I guess that's true. I only have 3 more minutes until the text line until my eyes don't meet the text line again until Monday. So,
Glenn from Nashville says trending up Eli Bowen. I don't really think that there's anyone that's going to disagree with you on that, whether they were at practice or just have heard what's been going on throughout training camp and practice as well. Les in Hayes, Kansas says Barnes, Eli Bowen, and Jackson. I don't know if that's Jaden Jackson or Jackson Arnold.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of ambiguous, isn't it? I would lean towards that being
That's a good play by
Jackson,
Les.
but
That's a good play by Les, though, just to kind of keep it that way. You know, he could be right on multiple fronts.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll tell you, I think the young pieces on that defense, especially in the secondary, there are a bunch of guys to me. It's not just Eli Bowen, not just Michael Boganowski. There are a lot of those young pieces in the secondary that are coming along much quicker than Oklahoma needs them to. Not to suggest they're coming along quicker than Oklahoma wants them to. I mean, the earlier you can have those guys ready, the better. But Oklahoma already has a ton of experience depth in the defensive backfield. I do think, though, that I think it kind of starts right there with Eli Bowen and Michael Boganowski. There are several young members of that secondary that should, throughout the season, continue to give a healthy, competitive push to some of the elder statesmen in the secondary.
Well, that's one of the reasons why I think that in a year's time, what we're saying about the defense right now, I don't think that's a one-year thing, man. I don't think that's a one-season thing. I don't think this is the one season that OU's going to be good on defense with Brent Venables, and then it's going to go to crap here moving forward. Like, no, we'll be talking in a year's time, like, who's going to replace Stutzman, who's going to replace Bowman, and kind of just the overall presence that they had, and some other guys that will be in the league as well. But when we talk about depth, like, it's a real thing. And yes, I expect them to be really good on defense this year. I expect them to be really good on defense in 2025 and probably every single year Brent Venables is the head coach moving forward. I think that's just the DNA of the program these days. All right, that'll do it for us on Locked In, or at least that'll do it for Parker Locked In. I'll be at the YFAC for 3 more hours. The Rush coming your way next right here on The Ref.